All right, this is the Chris Break Show. We are live. Well, not really live, but new episode right now on RadioFubar.com. All right, that went about as good as it could go. Other than me grabbing my mic right there, doing this noise. I hate that, but I tend to do it all the time. All right, my name is Chris Break. I'm sitting here with my good friend John Rapp. How you doing today, John?
Doing pretty good, man. How are you doing, Chris?
I'm feeling great, and I'm really excited.
Somebody had a birthday.
I did have a birthday yesterday, or would it be Tuesday? You know, people listeners don't even know. They don't. These dates, these numbers, everything. Just, you know, it's like I like watching Craig Ferguson because you know that it's not taped on the same day that it's recorded, but they do it really screwy, and they tape 2 or 3 shows in one day, and you can just tell that when he's talking, he has no idea what the hell day it is and what's playing. You know, and he doesn't even try and hide it anymore. You know, he'll make jokes like this. I like this audience today. You know, like they. You know, they're so good, I think I might even like to do 2 shows with them. But speaking of 2 shows, 3 shows, what is going on today? We got special stuff. Lots of special stuff, which I'm excited about. But you know what? I do want to tell you something. I got a little piece of paper here. I wrote this down just so I wouldn't forget to tell you. Because we're about to blast you with some serious content. And if you like it, if you like what we're doing here, and you'd like to support our show, please consider making a monthly donation through Patreon. You go to Patreon. How exactly do they do that, John?
If you go to chrisbreakshow.com and you click on support the show, and you scroll down, there's an image of Patreon, and you click on that. And it'll take you directly there. Or if you want to go to patreon.com, patreon.com, and search for Chris Break Show, that's 2 ways you can do it.
Every little bit helps. You know, if you want to give $1 per show, $2 per show, $5 per show, it's pretty decent. What we're doing here is free. You don't have to pay. But if you really like it, it helps us out. And we also, we do HostGator. We can go to our website, do that as well. If you need hosting, it's like $5 a month or something cheap.
Yeah, it's less than that, but yeah. You
get 20% off if you type in Chris Break Show at HostGator.com. 20% off ChrisBreakShow.com, and they help us out, throw us a little bone every time you do that. That's another way to support the show. I think there's some free ways too, but I don't remember all that.
Yeah, again, go to chrisbreakshow.com, click support the show, and there's a list of different ways you can help us out. So thank you guys for who's been doing that, and thank you to anybody who does it in the future.
Oh yeah. Okay, now John, what do we have? I'm confused. There's so much stuff. I know we're gonna talk to 40 Ounce Pimp. Actually, we're not gonna talk to 40 Ounce Pimp. We're gonna have 40 Ounce Pimp interview somebody.
Right.
Which is gonna be great. We're also going to show you a little behind the scenes look. Oh, but also we're going to talk to Steve Tozzi, who's the director of Riot on the Dance Floor, which is about City Gardens in New Jersey. It's a punk club where Jon Stewart used to work. He was a bartender. There's just a lot of crazy bands came through there. A guy named Randy Now, who we interviewed before, he was also involved with it, and that's kind of what the documentary's about. But we talked to Steve Tozzi, the director of that. But first, we're going to talk to Karl Spain.
Oh, nice.
Yes, this guy... This is an interesting dude, but before we talk to him, we're going to give you a behind-the-scenes look at the Chris Break Show.
Oh, this I'm excited about this too.
Yeah, it's our pre-interview process. All these shows, what they do is before somebody actually gets on, like when you're watching Letterman, you know, if you ever notice when you're watching Letterman, or what do the kids watch now? They don't watch Ferguson, but who's the guy? Fallon.
Oh, are they watching Fallon now?
I feel like I'm breathing my nose into this mic. I just should angle this. Yeah, Fallon and Seth Meyers. Anyway, anytime before anybody goes on these shows, a producer calls him up. And he asks them, you know, basically what happened today. Tell me stuff. And he talks to them for like 20 or 30 minutes. Then at the end, he writes down like 5 notes, gives them to Dave Letterman, and it'll say, you know, this guy went on a skiing trip, has a funny story. So then when he's talking to Letterman, you know, if you ever notice, the guest just goes into his story because Letterman will be like, "It's been cold this winter. You like to go skiing, don't you?"
Right.
Like, "Oh, funny thing, Dave. I was skiing last week, and you're not gonna believe what happened."
Right.
It's all fake. It's all fake, and we thought we'd join it. We've never done it before, so we found this guy on Craigslist named Eddie Going, and he did some pre-interviews for us. So check this out. It's pretty cool. It's a little behind the scenes taste of the Chris Brake Show.
Hello, Karl Spain.
Hey, Carl, this is Eddie Going from the Chris Brake Show. How are you?
Hey, Eddie. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing all right. I just called you on a private line. I guess you don't pick up private calls.
I don't pick up no caller ID calls. Sorry. I've invented a bunch of. Yeah, I invented something once that had something to do with reading brainwaves. People started calling me from India and all over the world, thinking I was reading their minds. So.
That's pretty crazy. See, I sort of look at myself as intuitive because I knew that you didn't pick up because it was private. That's why I called you back with it being unprivate.
Yeah, as soon as I saw the New York ID, in other words, if someone's willing to tell me their phone number, I'm willing to answer. But when there's no caller ID, that's sort of a psychological advantage to the other person.
Exactly.
How are you doing?
Hey, I'm doing all right. I could be better. I could be doing better. Now, listen, I'm recording this call for the Chris Brake Show. That's all right, right?
Yes, of course.
This is sort of the preliminary. I think that you were anticipating getting the call, right?
I was. I think it's a guy named John Rapp, who's a producer for your show I've talked to or emailed a couple of times.
That's right. He's a good guy, that John Rapp. Now, the reason I say I could be doing better is because I could be calling you from a beach right now, but instead I'm calling you from inside of a dark room smaller than a closet, placing this here phone call. So that's why I could be doing better.
Well, it depends. You're working, so that's better than not working, which is, so.
Well, I'm not really working. Somebody locked me in here, so I can't get out.
Oh, okay. Well, then.
just pulling your leg.
Then you're right. You'd be better off at the beach.
Carl, how do you pronounce your last name?
Spain, just like the country. Spain.
Remember that old movie? We'll live in a castle in Spain, high on a hill by Granada.
Oh, you mean the rain in Spain falls mainly on the plains?
No, that old movie, March of the Wooden Soldiers, Little Bo Peep, Mother Goose.
No, I didn't see that.
All right, well, anyway, let's cut to the chase now. We got to go over a couple of things here. It says here that you're a beekeeper. Is that right?
Yes, well, I belong to a beekeeping society. I don't actually keep bees anymore, but I used to a long time ago.
That's not your main profession anymore.
No, I'm a writer.
You ever get stung by any of the bees?
Of course.
Guess that's kind of like you can't make, what's that expression? You can't make a cake without breaking eggs, right? You can't keep bees without getting stung by a bee, huh?
That's exactly right.
You can't make an omelet without breaking eggs. Can't make an omelet, right? You could probably make a cake without baking eggs if it's an eggless cake.
Actually, you need eggs for a cake too.
Yeah, but sometimes they do those eggless cakes. No, in omelets you gotta have eggs. I think I messed up the expression. I messed it up. Listen, here's the other thing. We don't want any surprises from any of our guests. You can't get on the air and start using the N-word or talking about rape or anything like that. We've had a lot of problems in the past, so you sort of get what I mean by that?
You will not have a problem with me on that score.
On a scale of 1 to 10, what's the likelihood that you're going to say the N-word?
That I'm what?
That you're going to say the N-word or some racial slur or talk about rape?
0.
0 or -5?
I've been a public speaker for most of my life. I was the president of a chamber of commerce. I was the president of a newspaper. I know what's appropriate to say in public and what isn't.
You ever steal anything when you worked at the Chamber of Commerce?
Did I ever do what?
You ever steal anything when you worked at the Chamber of Commerce?
Did I ever steal anything?
Yeah, like a pen or...
Huh?
Like a pen or toilet paper.
Did I ever steal anything when I worked at the chamber? No, of course not.
You didn't take a pen home or something like that? Accidentally?
No. The chamber came out way ahead by my leadership. In other words, I raised money for the chamber. I got members to join. I organized events, and I actually redrew the whole master plan for the city of Germantown, Maryland. That's, we were accomplishing things. We weren't destroying things.
All right, look, the last but not least, you're going to talk about beekeeping. You're not going to say what word. What word are you not going to say, right?
Yeah, I know. But it's. I think they're actually more interested in my weather predictions, not beekeeping.
I think they want to talk about bees. I think the segment is going to be all about bees. Like, remember that picture, all about bees? This is going to be all about
Okay.
bees.
Well, then, if it's about bees, I'm game.
The birds and the bees. The birds and the bees. And what is that? The bumblebee. Bumblebee can sting you, and it still lives. But a honeybee will die if it stings you.
That's correct.
You ever see that movie, My Girl?
The bumblebee doesn't actually sting you; he bites you.
He bites you. You ever see that movie, My Girl, when Macaulay Culkin gets stung by all
That's
the bees?
That's very, very. Yeah, I cried during that scene.
I still cry during that scene. I still cry. Even just thinking about that movie. The bee stings. You can't breathe. Little Veda, Salt and Fuss. Remember Little Veda?
Yeah.
She's on that show Veep now with Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
I did. You know, I wondered what happened to her. I'm glad you told me that.
Yeah, she needed to get her fame back somehow. She was craving the spotlight. Listen, though, buddy, I got to make 20 calls today. I got to pay the rent. I got to call up some asshole, have him tell me about some shit movie he directed. This is the next guy on my list. So you do me a favor, keep that in mind. No, don't rape anybody. No rape. No talking about rape. No N-word. -5. Bees. Nothing but the bees.
No problem.
You on board?
I'm on board.
All right, they're going to ask you to review this phone call, how I treated you. You're going to say nice things about me. I trust you. You seem like a nice guy. I seem like a nice guy. So if they ask you about this call, you let them know how I did, all right?
Yes, sir.
All right, buddy. You have a good day, all right, Charlie?
You too, my friend.
All right, Charlie. Have a good one.
Karl Spain.
Mr. Karl Spain, this is the Chris Break Show. You are on the air. How are you doing today?
Wonderful. How are you, sir?
I'm pretty good. It's a little chilly over here in Indianapolis, which I like it. I like the fact that it's not summertime anymore, because in the summertime there's too many bees, and they sting the hell out of me, and it pisses me off. You know something about
bees are your friend. Bees are your friend.
Are they?
Absolutely.
Yeah, didn't you own a bunch of bees? Didn't you breed them?
I did. Well, I was a beekeeper. I did a lot of scientific study with bees. They're definitely our friend. They pollinate our crops, and a lot of people keep bees recreationally, and of course to help with the crops and do things like that. And of course for honey. But bees are our friend. They're not the enemy.
You ever been stung by a bee?
Of course. I'm even allergic to wasps. But
geez.
But bee stings.
I like the fact that when a bee stings me, I know it's gonna die. Like that I take pride in that, knowing that when that thing stings me, at least he's gonna be dead. But I hate those big furry ones, because when they sting you, they don't die.
Well, they're actually, the big ones are biting you. They're not stinging you. That's why they don't die. Really,
the big ones bite. They don't sting. But I guess
correct.
I guess it makes sense if you get stung by a bee, because it's like what's that phrase when you're making a cake, you break what is it? When omelets?
Break some eggs.
Yeah, you break. It was
can't make a
you
cake.
You gotta break some eggs to make an omelet.
Right.
Yeah, I like that.
So you're saying you have to get stung by a bee to make honey?
Yeah, that sounds good. You don't want to be like Thomas J though. Like My Girl. You ever seen that?
Yeah, that was bad. That actually, I cried during that scene.
I cry. Yeah, I still cry every time I watch that. But,
for a long time, Dan Aykroyd talked about making a sequel to that, but he never did.
I don't think he's going to. I don't think think anybody wants his sequels. He's been talking sequels nonstop. He wants to make one for what is it? Ghostbusters. Like this guy writes sequels. That's what he does.
He's a genius, though. He's a genius. He should be given the latitude that he wants to make whatever movie he wants. Basically, I mean, he's done a lot of good work.
I like Dan Aykroyd. He is nice. How do you spell Dan Aykroyd's last name?
Ankryd.
What was that?
Am I close?
Let me hear it again. I think you were close.
Ankdroy. Oh, good grief! I've screwed that up.
I see where you're going with that, but no, it is actually one of the hardest names to spell. It is Aykryd. Yeah, that extra Y in there.
There's two Y's in there. Okay, that is tricky. That is very, very tricky.
All right. So, Karl Spain, do you have anywhere that people can go to check out your bees or how they can buy your honey?
Well, I don't sell honey, but I do have some advice for people. Support the local beekeepers in your region. In other words, the bees in your region gather pollen from flowers that are in your environment. And so by eating that honey, you naturally give yourself some immunity to hay fever and other things that are in your environment.
Wow.
I have heard that. Good for allergies and stuff.
Absolutely. And obviously, though, don't feed raw honey to children under 1.
Yeah, I think I saw a Grey's Anatomy episode about that. All right. Thank you so much for your time, Mr. Spain.
My pleasure. Thank you, sir.
All right. That was Karl Spain. You know, I like that guy.
Good guy, man. I think he's from Indiana or grew up here or something. So
I like that guy. Although I thought that we were, I saw Eddie's notes, but I thought we were supposed to talk to him about climate change or something like that.
Yeah, he mentioned that initially, and I think he even mentioned something about he invented a mind control device or it could read your thoughts or something. But no,
Well, why the hell didn't it? A mind control device? No, shut the. No, he didn't.
I don't know. I don't know. I didn't pre-interview the guy, but and just in passing, I think I remember him saying that. I don't know, but yeah, he does bees too, I guess.
Well, maybe we should have him on again and talk to him about the mind control stuff.
Oh wow.
We'll put him on the mind control episode.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we'll have to. Yeah, if he invented a machine, I'll have to double check the facts on that. But I thought I heard him tell me that.
We'll ask Eddie. We'll have Eddie call him up and see if he's got any more. Stuff.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I think Eddie's doing a good job.
Me too. All right, we're going to take a break. We'll be right back. All right, we are back. All right, John, you know what it's time for now?
What's coming up next, Chris?
Steve Tozzi interview.
Nice.
It's been a while since we talked to this guy, but here it comes, you know? Here it comes.
Yeah, I've been, people have been asking us, when's the Steve Tozzi coming out? And, we've been meaning to put it out. We've just been between a rock and a hard place. So,
yeah, so we're going to talk to Steve Tozzi, and then we will get to the 40-ounce Pimp and Magdalena of Threestyle. All right, we have Steve Tozzi on the line. Hello,
How's
sir.
it going?
Hey. I do it every time I talk. Yeah. Who knows how these, you know what, fuck it. I'm not going to complain about it like I always do, how I just tend to talk over people. But we have Steve Tozzi. Steve Tozzi, right. Director of Riot on the Dance Floor. That's right. Thanks. Yeah, that was an interesting movie, man. I love those movies that just focus on a small specific scene like that.
I'm glad you liked it. Yeah, it was a big undertaking, no doubt.
I think it's going to be pretty well received when it comes out, man. It's looking pretty good.
Thank you. Yeah, we're in the last throes of it, so we're just finalizing music and doing final color, that kind of thing. But we have a lot of interest pretty early on, so we're hoping that just keeps swelling for us.
Yeah, the movie is Riot on the Dance Floor, and it is a documentary about a place called City Gardens in Trenton, New Jersey, and also about the man who was booking City Gardens for, was it 20 years? 15?
I think it was close to 20 years. It was definitely maybe a little shy of 20 years, but yeah, about 20 years.
Yeah, his name was Randy Now.
Randy Now.
Randy, why did you do this? Like, what made you want to actually, and how long did it take?
Well, I used to go to the club. I wasn't a regular, but I used to. It was where I lived in New Jersey. It was kind of equal distance between to go to Trenton or to go to New York, and at least with New York, you kind of had an easy path to get there. You can get on a bus and get there. So, but if you don't know the layout of New Jersey, everything goes up and down. But anything going side to side in the state, you can't get across it unless you have your own car. So if you're like 16 years old and 1984 and you have no money, you're not going to get you have no friend with a car. Rather, you can't get across the state. So we always end up getting on the bus and go to New York. So, but once in a while, Randy would be booking a show that would be just ridiculous, and we'd have to go and make the journey over to Trenton. So And the one thing about it, but I went to the club for a bunch of years and stuff, and I kind of forgot about it. I went to college, went to New York and stuff, and I never knew what happened to the club. But I did go to shows in New York, and the one thing I went to CB's and all that stuff, and I remember seeing Hilly there. But a lot of the shows, a lot of the clubs in New York, when you went to a show like the Rock Hotel, which is a big place in the city, the Old Ritz, these are kind of famous venues for New York. You never knew who did them. You never knew who booked the show. The promoter was someone that was kind of hidden. You always thought they're just up in an office somewhere counting money. And that's kind of everybody's perception of it that I talked to. Like, oh, that's probably just some businessman who really couldn't give a shit about the music and stuff. But when you went to City Gardens, you really couldn't. The place was a box. It was a cement, cinder block box. You really couldn't hide anywhere. And Randy made sure he wasn't hiding. He was out front, like promoting the show, saying hello to everybody. He made these little, you probably saw him in the film, these little promotionals, which he called punk cards, which he would mail to people. So he would be out there with like a notebook and saying, hey, we got, Soundgarden, a new band called Soundgarden next week, playing with Voivod. Here, sign the mailing list and I'll get you on the punk card list. And
what was the first band?
Every month.
What was the first band you saw at City Gardens? Do you remember?
I think for me it was probably Fishbone. I think I saw Fishbone there, and it was probably maybe with the Red Hot Chili Peppers. They used to tour a lot together. So, and then I saw a lot of hardcore and ska bands there.
Yeah, what?
Randy was.
What was it like? How I noticed that I'm 30 years old and I live in Indianapolis, and I've never really seen a lot of skinheads. But when we just talked to Ricky Rat from the Trash Brats, and he was talking about, in the 80s, how there were all these skinheads around. And I've never really experienced any skinheads in my life, but I noticed they were brought up a lot in the documentary. Has that gone away?
No, it's, skinheads are, I think there's skinheads now, but it's not in this, it's used to be pretty prevalent. You'd go into a lot of, suburban areas, and find skinheads. Now it's much, much less. If you see skinheads now, like in a group, it's pretty rare that I've seen them. Even at, hardcore shows now. But back then it was, there was a lot of different types of skins. It wasn't just like if you were a skinhead, you were a Nazi. You could be, there were skinheads that were, for, a lot of different sort of, different types of kind of skinheads that were just like skinheads they like to shave their head. They like to kind of travel in kind of with their friends who kind of looked the same and looked the same part and liked the same music, but they didn't have anything against anybody, and they didn't have any racial discrimination or any of that. So, but then you also had that factor in there. So, and what happened with City Gardens in particular was that it was kind of a convergence of a lot of different types. When the skinhead problem happened, you had a lot of like, kind of kids who were trying out their neo-Nazi thing, coming in from PA, and then you had like kids who just shaved their heads because they just liked the look, coming in from like maybe rich part of New Jersey, and then you had just kind of kids who just didn't know, were into the scene and were skinheads because they just, wanted to be, they were into the music and that was the look.
Were there any race fights? Because that was one thing the documentary didn't really touch on, is that there were black people there, it's a big black community.
Yeah.
But
it was.
Skinheads don't go there to beat up black people, right? That's not what it's all about, or is it?
No, I mean, it wasn't like you went out. They kind of tried to get some sort of ownership, and the place, the place actually had kind of a group that would police the scene a bit. It was called the Family, and they basically, when the skinheads kind of came in, they kind of kind of beat them out of the place. So they really never took hold in any grand way. But at a certain point in time, there was, when you saw a lot of white power skinheads, during the 80s, City Garden was one of the places that they would sort of frequent. But it didn't really last, too long. A couple of years, they would kind of come in and out, and then it kind of died off. Because the music also changed. A lot of the posse bands, the Youth of Today's and the Gorilla Biscuits were taking hold, and more of the sort of the skater, kind of the skater culture was merging with that type of music, and it was much more positive, and that kind of changed, I think, a lot of things, and a lot of that, those kids who wanted to do, bring positivity to the scene, kind of took over the room. and it's really kind of, you're going to get, outnumbered basically.
You see that a lot you see a lot of punk shows, is there is a lot of unity and just kind of peacefulness, as intimidating as they look. Usually it's a pretty good time with pretty nice people.
I mean, it all matters really where you go. I mean, we when we went to I go punk shows now and in New Jersey and New York and Connecticut and stuff, and it's a very positive thing. But we went to a show to film, the Meatmen up in PA, and there was a ton of white power skinheads there. And we kind of went in there covertly to kind of shoot and the Meatmen. The strange bit is not that the band is into that. They just unfortunately a band like Nazis will kind of like adopt a band, so they'll just kind of just show up and but it's just it is shocking to see it, because you kind of forget that there's people out there who really have a lot of hatred and really want to bring it out. So but luckily that only happened once, and we got the hell out of there.
Did you know Randy now? Like, I mean, I know you knew who he was, but were you friends with him before you decided to make this?
No, I didn't know Randy. I knew of him, but it wasn't. I was at that time I was probably maybe 15, 16, and I went to the shows there, all the the all ages shows, and Randy was older, so I didn't really have much to say to him, but he might have said hello. When I first met him, when I started investigating, doing the story, the first thing he said to me was, "Oh, I remember you," which I knew he was probably lying. But he's the kind of guy that would want to make you comfortable and like feel good, and that's who that guy is. He's like, which comes out in people who knew him, going from like Henry Rollins to GWAR to Ministry and Green Day, and the bands who dealt with him really liked the guy, because you have to understand that these bands were on the road almost like 365 days a year trying to make, ends meet. Bands like Black Flag, all those SST package, all those package shows that they did, those bands were just like constantly on the road. So they, at times they would just get ripped off,
then they meet
by promoters.
Yeah, then they meet this nice guy like Randy, who just, he seems super friendly. He just doesn't, he just wants to please everyone.
Yeah, he's just a happy-go-lucky guy. And he was like that, with them, So the funny bit is, when I started the film, once I said I want to go out and make a film about Randy now. It's just that when I want to make a film about the club, and one of the caveats, I was very happy with this, was that the club wasn't a pretty place. So it wasn't like you had this beautiful history to this place that you could, it's great woodwork and, what a amazing like interior. It wasn't like that. It was just a crummy, cinder block building. So everything, all the fun and all the excitement and everything that was great about the place was just like basically trucked in. And but when I started talking to the bands, they didn't really, because there wasn't like, oh, what a great venue. They did like the sound. That was one thing they always said, oh, the sound was great there. Great, sound engineer there. And Randy was always good with sound. But they always talked about him. And I'm like, well, was this guy a big deal to you guys? And and it was always, Randy now was the reason why we went there. Like, the reason why we came back was because it wasn't because of the club is a nice size, but there were other clubs, and like we always play in New York or play DC. We didn't have to play there. But it was a nice stopover between, going up that sort of, between Philly and New York. They could play somewhere, and they actually liked the guy. So,
well, didn't the bands didn't they make like an insane amount of money more than they normally would at other places? Like, I mean, I imagine that he wasn't taking a big cut. Like, I guess the owner was probably taking.
Randy was.
Go ahead.
I think Randy was like just basically fair. Like he would pay whatever their asking price was, he would pay that. And a lot of bands, a lot of promoters would say, hey, I didn't make enough, so I can't pay you what I guaranteed you, which is not how it works. But Randy would say, I guaranteed that, then here it is, and he would take a bath on it. Some bands, he did a show with like Paul Stanley, which at that point in time from Kiss, and at City Gardens, and it was like one of the biggest guarantees he had to put down, and he just took a bath on it. It was like $7,000 or something to get him. And no one showed, so he didn't make any of it back. And I think the perception is that I think the perception might be that there's someone behind him giving him that money. Like there's a business behind, like, oh well, we got $20,000 this month. What do you want to do? Who do you want to get? It's not how it works. He's actually have to front that money himself, and so he might be up $1,000 one week, but he lost $3, 2 weeks ago. So it's a gamble, and when I realized that, because I did not know the mechanics of how he did it, I was just shocked. I said, that's a terrible business, and he agreed. He's like, it is it's a really tricky way of doing it, but if you can do it, you can kind of pull it off. So
it seemed like he just liked doing it. Where was the owner in the documentary? Is he still alive?
The owner's alive, yeah. I mean, they had kind of a falling out. They didn't really, Randy didn't want to do the shows anymore, and the club was very, very popular, at the time that he just didn't want to do it because, it kind of comes out in the film that, the shows that he was making money on were these hardcore package shows. And he was booking a lot of them because that's what the kids wanted to see, and he wanted to do it. But they were getting sued, and it was very stressful for them. And granted, Frank Narbone, he agreed to all that stuff. He made that place, what it was as well. So, but it was just becoming too stressful, and I think they just, they said we can't do it, and Randy walked away. And also because Randy he did all that, had all the relationships, basically had what that place did in his head. And who he was when he walked away, all of the entertainment walked away, which, kind of took the club down. So, he didn't really, it seemed that he didn't take too positively to that.
But did you try and get him in the movie?
We did. We asked him, I actually never talked to him. And there's also a book about the film, this just came out. What's her, Amy Wolfing, or what's her name? Amy Wolfing and Steve Ludovico wrote a book. They were actually producers on the film, and they actually were. Amy, when she started to research this, had some things online that I read. Actually, my brother sent them to me, and he said, "You got to read this story about City Gardens." Remember City Gardens? And I read it. So she actually was kind of the instigator of me doing this, in a lot of ways. So. But she couldn't get him. I haven't read the book exactly yet, but I don't think they ever got him either. So it's just a business lost, and people get sore. So
wow,
what can you do?
Well, he must not have had a good time doing it. You know what I mean? It seems like Randy's just happy to talk about it. He's happy to be a part of it, and that people are still
Randy.
interested.
He really likes it. He really likes, entertaining people. He was in bands and stuff, but I think he really enjoys bringing the new thing to an area. He loves his town. He loves New Jersey. He loves kind of just, doing the punk rock thing and doing anything around music. And he did, not to say that it was all hardcore and all that stuff. He's very into new wave and power pop and a lot of different types of stuff, a lot of garage rock. And, he turns me on to things all the time. So, he's just a happy-go-lucky guy with regards to music, definitely.
Was he? I guess I'll ask him when he's on here next week. But
sure.
I'll ask you then. Were you happy with how the thing was portrayed on your and why weren't you in your own movie? I didn't see you in there. I don't think.
No, I didn't really want to be in it because the people that were represented in the film were people who were there a lot. It wasn't because big bands came through there Nirvana played there, and and Jane's Addiction played there. But they might have played there once. It's just a show they blew through. I really wanted to talk to people who were, there a lot, who dealt with Randy a lot, like Rollins and Jello, and those guys really knew him, and really dealt with the place, and it was something they always frequently, frequent rather. So. And I wasn't one of those people. I wasn't someone who was there all the time. So, and a lot of my personality comes out in just how the whole thing is constructed. So I obviously play a big role. So, but I didn't feel comfortable in being in the film anyway. So it's not my story. I tell people that. They're like, look, I said I didn't dictate what the story was. Everybody else did. It's not my job to actually turn it into something that it isn't. This is what people talked about. Because my questioning was very generic. It's like, what do you remember about the club? And who did you deal with? Did you know Randy? It's very benign stuff, and they would just go on a tear.
Nice.
And then that's how it built itself. So I really didn't have to, there was a couple of things that were specific. Hey, do you remember this specific night with Venom and Black Flag? And then they would just go. But that was about it.
Was all the music in the movie, is that all from Trenton bands? Or is that...
No, there's not Trenton bands. There are some Trenton bands there. There are definitely New Jersey bands there, but it's a wide range. There's the music that we're trying to ultimately secure. are bands from that he booked early on, or people who are surrounded in, or either Trenton artists or that sort of thing. But Fugazi's in there and Killing Joke, and these are bands that there's like local synth bands and things that he felt that they were big accomplishments for him. I try to get in there. It's like you have to cut deals and stuff, but yeah, I try to get a nice range in the film. So.
I know Still Jay Gordon's on there. He's on our show all the time. I noticed you got his music right when Henry Rollins was talking.
Yeah, Dale's a great guy, and I was trying to think of I know he's on your show a bunch. And I did not. I was trying to remember how I met him. I know it was specific in the situation. He approached me out of the blue, or he sent me something, or something happened. But I liked his music, and there's times that you just want something that's different and sets a certain tone, and I wanted to get some current Trenton artists in the film. I thought that was important because Randy would do that. He would kind of say, "Yeah, you promote who's here." So I'm glad that Dale and I hooked up on some things.
All right, John, you want to join this conversation?
Hey man, what was Jello Biafra like? I never got a chance to talk to that guy. He seems pretty cool.
Jello was great. Jello and Henry and Ian, Tesco, those guys are very, very bright. They know exactly their history. They know they can remember like dates, very specific dates, and who played, and things you think a lot of musicians would forget over time because they've done so much. They have incredible recall for stuff, and Jello was he remembered very, very interesting things from the club, and really all the guys reminisced about it in a very fond way, that they really loved the place and they really liked like kind of what Randy was trying to do. He told me that Randy was trying to do like I have to ask Randy. You should ask Randy about this. Because I never talked to him about it. Randy was trying to set up almost like a mini Lollapalooza before Lollapalooza ever happened. And he was going to do the Dead Kennedys and I think Parliament Funkadelic together.
That would be great.
Right? Like that was the idea. And this is Jello talking. It's not something I found out. He told me this. And he was super excited to do it. Jello's like, that would be the greatest thing back then. I mean, it sounded amazing. And for some reason it didn't happen, but they were completely game to do it. He also tells about a story that when he told me that he went to a bathroom stall and he was just going to the bathroom or something at City Gardens, and you get the door locked, and then someone came up to him and said, "I'm going to kill you when you come out of here." And I'm going to stab you. I think it was. And then so Jello, in his way, and just sort of said, "Well, I'm not going to come out." So I'm not going anywhere. And he said it was like a really frightening moment because he just came out of the blue, wasn't expecting it, or I thought it might have been one of his band members, someone just like playing a joke. But it was really, he knew it was a tough crowd, and he's obviously played in a lot of tough spots and stuff, and he can hold his own. But he's like, yeah, it could be tricky in that place. You didn't really know what you were walking into. But he was very, very funny, a true entertainer, and likes to tell a story, and that's why he was one of the greatest. I wanted to get sort of the elder statesman, of punk rock, Jello being one of them, Henry and all that, and so he was great. He was a great guy.
Yeah, I got a question about that. I've always read that Henry, at least, do I come here often? I can't remember the book I read, but he speaks it's when he was talking about interviewing Jerry Lee Lewis, and he speaks about the act of interviewing and how he just doesn't like to have his time wasted, and he's really adamant about interviewing at that time in his life on how much he hates it, and how when people don't do their research and people just waste his time and all they want is this and that and they ask the same questions. So how was it interviewing Henry Rollins?
That's very funny that you say that, because he was very, very nice. He was very, he's very on time.
But he's professional as hell.
Very exacting, and we did it in Trenton. It was actually one of the few interviews we did in Trenton. Actually, he was doing a spoken word, so he's one of these guys. If you ask him something, he will definitely try to do it. If he believes in what you're trying to do, he will go out of his way to do it, big or small. And so he said, "Okay, let's try to do this." And I said, "Fine." So we met up, and I asked him some basic questions, and he was very, very, I think, the first few were, a little dry, a little kind of, not like he's dry, but I think he was just kind of understanding, like, well, what is this and what is this about? And, this is a small operation. It's not like, this is not like a movie set here. And, but I think I asked him something that he probably didn't get asked a lot in other interviews, or has never been, rather. I asked him about this Black Flag Venom show. Which he probably doesn't get. Maybe he brings it up himself on his radio show out in California and stuff, but it seemed like no one ever asked him that, and I wasn't going to give him the usually atypical. There's one thing we didn't do. None of the people we talked to, I interviewed or whatever, I never asked them about, like, well, what was it like being in Black Flag, or what was it like being in the Dead Kennedys, or I had no interest in that. That's been told, and not to say that I don't appreciate it. I think it's amazing, but that's not what I had these people sit down and do. I want to know about things that most people don't know. So I asked them, say, hey, can you tell me about how the Venom Black Flag show came together? He instantly, in my mind, just completely loosened up. And I got the guy I really wanted to sit down with, and he had a really good time, because I think he really appreciated he get to talk about it, on camera. So, after that, and also you gotta remember, he's very funny, so I'm laughing, and I'm right by the mic, so I'm holding it in, and he sees me laughing, so it's kind of building because of that, because he's completely entertaining me on this whole thing, so, but yeah, I can see how and it makes sense that you could drive someone like him nuts if you ask him the same question. Yeah. He's going to ask the same question after, for 30 years. It's just I don't want to answer that, and that's just tiresome. So,
Venom.
I think we had a good time.
Is Venom, was that the one with the crazy satanic guys? Is that what I'm thinking of? Or is that something else?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
Venom, yeah.
Okay.
A black metal band.
I can understand why you were cracking up during that, because that was one of the funnier parts of the film.
Yeah, they really wanted to play with them. They really felt like, and what I like about that was Randy just doing something crazy, but he knew he had to get that PA system, because Black Flag had it and Venom needed it for what their setup was. What he promised them was this big system, so he had to get it.
I wasn't even familiar with any of that, like with the Butthole Surfers and Gibby putting out that 7-inch, that was.
Oh yeah,
that's hilarious.
It was
what band?
It was Sonic Youth that put out it. It was actually a
okay.
Put the 7.
Okay, yeah, I mixed them up.
It actually gets on. They actually used a sample of that from. I think it's on. It's on Check Your Head by the Beastie Boys. They used a piece of that. So it was floating around for a while.
That's very cool, man.
Yeah, right man. On. Yeah, thank you very much for taking your time out of your day to talk to us about this.
Oh, no, I appreciate it. Thanks for the interest. I really enjoyed the interview. No doubt.
Yeah, I enjoyed the film, man. I can tell you right now, it's definitely going to become a punk staple. Well,
that's great to hear, because we try to make something different for everybody.
Yeah, you guys did a great job on it.
Thanks so much.
All right, that was Steve Tozzi, and now we're going to play an interview that we had the 40-ounce Pimp do. We haven't heard the interview yet, but we do know that he called us after he interviewed him, and let's play that voicemail. You got that, John?
Yeah.
Hey man, I don't know what the fuck happened or whatever, but I hope I did all right there. I'm up now, man. I don't know what the hell to say about that. I think I went all right. I put it up, and I don't know, man. I was a little self-conscious about doing that, so whatever. I think I did all right.
Wow, he doesn't sound too sure.
Yeah, he doesn't sound too sure of the interview. I'm sure it's fine. This is the 40-ounce Pimp's first interview being on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
Normally he's used to getting interviewed, which is probably easier. I don't know. I'm sure it's hard to get interviewed, too.
Yeah.
If you're trying to be entertaining. But I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Let's listen to it right now. It could be kind of haggard, but I'm looking forward to it.
I'm excited to hear this.
Oh, what's the band? Threestyle.
Magdalena, and I'm not, Magdalena Chovancova.
And they do jazz.
They do jazz, and then she plays with a band called Threestyle.
All right, let's check this out. 40-ounce Pimp doing his thing.
All right, well, I guess just get her on. I mean, there's really no preparation, I guess, because it's not going to make that much of a difference.
Yeah, I think it'd be funny if you told her about the time you were on that Mexican cruise. So if you're floundering for something, you could say that.
Well, hopefully she's a little talkative.
Right.
All right, we're gonna get her on right now.
Nah. That time, by the way, was like a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, I mean,
Hi, Chris. Hello. Hi, Chris.
Hey.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
How are you doing?
Very good, ma'am.
So, what time does the show start?
Right now.
Right now. Okay, I will tell Robert because he's in studio, then he will come, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, just a second.
No problem, ma'am.
All right, he's coming. So, how are you?
Very well. How about yourself?
Yeah, I can't hear him. It's so loud from the studio.
Uh-huh.
Okay, it's better now.
All right. So how you doing?
We're fine, and you?
I'm doing very good. I just woke up.
Really?
all right, great. All
Had,
right.
had to lay down for a minute. That's Chris, by the way. He said he's got to step out for a minute. My name's Sean. Very good to make your acquaintance this fine evening, ma'am.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Rock?
Okay,
Yeah, we are ready for shoot.
Huh?
We are ready.
we are ready.
Yeah, what's going on?
Yeah, we're in the studio recording new music.
Yeah, how's that been going?
Yeah, very well. Very good, man.
Yeah.
Contact Chris.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
So how long you guys been playing?
We've been playing for 13 years together.
It's a long time.
Yeah.
So I'm not a professional interviewer. I was asked to do this, and I just got up, but we can talk, and I can do my best here, so bear with me. This is the first time I've ever done anything like this. This isn't Chris, but we are live on Chris's show. So talk a little bit about your music and, like, what you'd like to get across and how it all came together and stuff. And just bear with me with this because it's my first time doing something like this. But I'm friendly. My name's Sean. 40 amp Pimp, certified platinum. So talk a little bit about yourself and how you feel about what you're doing and what inspires you and things like that.
All right.
Okay.
Good luck.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So my name is Robert. I'm a part of Threestyle, smooth jazz with Magdalena over here. And we're doing some smooth music, and we are having a new tune. It's called Just for Fun on the radio, and also our new album. It's called The Get It. And Magdalena plays the saxophone. It's right here with me, and we'll tell you more.
And Robert is playing guitar there. So, and the whole album was, recorded partly in LA and partly in Germany. So, and there are some special guests, and we work together with great producer Paul Brown. So we're now in his studio, and we are doing some more great tracks.
Yeah, I had a chance earlier because Chris and John asked me a little bit about this yesterday, and like I'm usually the one getting an interview, not doing them. But I had a chance to sit down for a minute and listen to some of your stuff earlier. Yeah, pardon me, I just got up from a nap. A Threestyle, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, and you're a saxophone. How long have you been playing saxophone?
Well, since I was 11.
Yeah, it sounded pretty good. I kind of do a little bit more. I guess like rock and roll rap. Well, what would you classify that as? Jazz, I guess you could say.
Yeah, smooth jazz.
Yeah, sounded really good. I put it up on my Facebook.
Okay.
So you guys are working on a new album now?
Yes.
Yes, we are working on a new album, so we will release, if to say the secret, we will release soon a new
album.
A new EPK first. But our album is released now, so it's on the market since 1 week.
What are you releasing on? Do you press hard copies, or are you talking about like iTunes or?
Yes, on iTunes and Amazon. We're gonna have also physical copies. You know, it's pretty much everywhere. So all the links you can find on our website is threestylegazz.com.
Gotcha. Feel free to plug whatever you want. Just talk about whatever you want, because like I said, I'm not really an interviewer, so let's just shoot the shit.
All right, we have a great live band here over in Los Angeles. I will tell you something about our live shows. Upcoming first live show now is on November 5th at Spaghettini's on Seal Beach. That's the place where to be. And we have a great band with Gail Johnson on keyboards, James L. Manning on bass guitar. So he's the real one. He played for centuries with Billy Preston, for example. So we have Keith Williams on the drums. Latonia Black, she's our first featured artist on our show in Seal Beach. So we have two more featured artists. Dirk K from Las Vegas, he's coming and join us on the show. And very, very special guest, we have Paul Brown on guitar on this show.
Beautiful. Hey, am I on this?
Yes.
Is that Dale?
Yeah, this is Dale.
What's up, Dale?
This is not a prank call?
Nah.
Who are we talking to here?
They were just talking about that. They're jazz musicians. It's called a three-something. Very talented saxophone player, and Chris wanted me to interview them instead of like interviewing me. So I just woke up. I forgot completely about this interview. You talked to them for a second. They were just giving us a little bit of their backstory and talking about like where you can find their music and stuff. Say hi to these nice people.
Hello, I'm Dale. What's your name?
Hi, I'm Robert.
And Magdalena.
Magdalena. Magdalena, you have my name in the middle of your name. It's Magdalena.
Yes, almost. Okay.
Almost, yeah.
I love jazz. I love John Coltrane, Miles Davis, Thelonious Monk, Charlie Parker.
Well, as a matter of fact, tell them the name of the album after Digital Wiccan.
Oh, I have an album called White Trash Jazz. If you can imagine.
Good one, too. By the way, I never got a hard copy of that either.
What are you guys working on these days?
We are working on new songs here in Los Angeles at the Funky Joint studio. There's Paul Brown now.
Uh-huh.
Yes, and will be a new EPK. I mean, we released now our 5th album 2 weeks ago, but we are preparing for springtime to release a new EPK with a little bit more, vocal-based songs with vocal and saxophone, guitar, smooth jazzy,
Looks like you've got a saxophone there. What's the rest of the lineup like?
The band, basically the band is Gail Johnson on keyboards.
Is this pretty blonde girl playing saxophone in the band?
Yes, of course.
Yes, she's pretty too. Please continue.
So you want to know
Yeah, I wanted to
about the band or just about Magdalena?
just the lineup of instrumentation.
We want to know about everything.
All right. Okay, let's shoot again. So Mr. James L. Manning, he's playing the bass guitar. He's been playing centuries with Billy Preston. And we have Mr. Keith Williams on the drums. So we have Latonia Black on vocal, beautiful vocalist. We have Magdalena on saxophone, and we have myself, Robert, on the guitar. That's basically the lineup.
What would you say your guitar influences are? What do you draw from?
I mean, if you play jazz guitar, you have to know Mr. Wes Montgomery and
yes,
Mr. George Benson. You know?
And how does Los Angeles take to the jazz music these days?
I mean, West Coast is
Are they in LA, Dale?
Jazz is the best coast. Yeah, West Coast is the best coast.
Are you guys in Los Angeles right now?
Yes, right now.
I thought you were calling me Los Angeles because of Skype. I thought maybe it was coming up as like a Los Angeles number or something. I'm in Pennsylvania right now at the time, but I thought you were calling me like LA or something, like joking around. I didn't understand that.
No. We are in Los Angeles and we are at the Pacific time, and it's nearly 6 o'clock.
It's about 9 here. It's like 8. Whatever.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, nearly 9. Okay.
Okay. So, and why does the show called Chris Break?
Yeah.
When you are Sean?
Yeah, my name's Sean, 40-ounce Pimp.
Okay.
That could be 3 shows in and of itself.
Yes.
It wasn't really supposed to, like. I kind of like when you're talking about musical influences. Maybe you should talk to them a little bit more about, like, what you do. Because, well, Dale's a guitar player himself. If you excuse me for 1 second, I'll be right back in about 15 seconds. Talk to a little bit about that. And then Chris told me I should tell this fine lady about my experience on that boat or whatever. That was kind of wild. Give me 5 seconds. I'll be back. Dell, take the helm.
Okay, so maybe you can, play some of our tracks.
Yeah. Can you guys play a little music for us?
Are you with instruments now, or just have recordings?
All right. Bye.
Did she hang up?
Hung up.
Are you serious?
Yeah, we didn't say anything offensive.
No, not even close. So now it's just me and you.
Are you with instruments, or do you have recordings?
Are you sure she's not just looking for it?
Maybe they're gonna call back, but that's rather diva.
There you go.
Happy belated birthday to Chris Break. Happy belated birthday to Chris Break.
Say you, Dale. Wow, this interview's awesome. All right. It's the end of the show. I'm Chris Break signing off with my good friend John Ram. We'll be back next week. But first, I want to thank Darren Snyder at Indian Tune, Rich Barker at Punk Rock Night, The Melody Inn, Frank at, man, I always say Frank G at 405. I'm running out of time here. John G at 405. More importantly, Frank at RadioFubar.com. Special shout out to Mike Moore of Wheelbarrow Full of Dicks and Kendall of Person at The Public Blogger.
Big shout to Ron over there at Radio Max Music, Jeremy at Couch Potato Nation, Mark at the Tangent Bound Network, and Jack at the Mix FM, and our buddy Suma Peter over at Loudtown Online Radio in Africa. Thank you guys for carrying the Chris Breaks Show.
Thank you so much. ChrisBreaksShow.com for all your Chris Breaks Show needs. We'll be here for a while. Wherever we are, that's where we'll be. We appreciate you walking through this road with us. Ooh, look at that.
Bum, 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 bum. Okay, thank you very much. I hope you play it, and I know this is recording, and I hope you play it. Okay. See you guys.